There were a lot of LinkedIn posts at the start of the year about 2026 being the year of relationships and that we should start focusing on meeting more people and truly connecting if we want our businesses to thrive. Now look, I'm not saying those people were wrong. I'm obviously here for it. I'm all in on human connection. But it's a really easy thing to say, and I don't believe it actually helps anyone. Because for most business owners I speak to, they already want to build good relationships. They want to spend more time with their clients. They want to spend more time with the people that they enjoy spending time with. But where they struggle is converting that into tangible value. And that's typically because it can just feel awkward trying to turn this friendly relationship into something that delivers an output. There's an underlying fear most of the time that the other person will suddenly feel that you only wanted that meeting or to develop that relationship because there's something you want from them all along. And even if that isn't the case and you're completely fine with this, it still takes certain skills to be able to do this in an effective way that doesn't feel icky for anyone concerned and actually delivers results. So just having more meetings and seeing more people isn't the answer. Now, don't get me wrong. Yes, of course, if you meet more people, then more organic stuff will happen. But organic is not a strategy. It's a mixture of hope and chance, and it belongs on food labels, not a business plan. Yes, of course, if you meet more people, more organic stuff will naturally happen. But that's because, an organic approach takes a huge amount of time to deliver any kind of meaningful results. And that time is something that most business people I speak to just don't have. It's also what typically births the absolute misconception, and my favourite soapbox subject, that you can't scale referrals. And before we kind of get into the nuts and bolts of this, I'm not saying that every meeting, it has to be kind of mercenary and all in. We should absolutely have some meetings where we're just doing it because we want to, and we just want to be curious. Curiosity is the birthplace of opportunity, and actually just spending time in the company of good people with no real agenda is good for the soul. We're here for a good time, not a long time. But if you do genuinely want to scale relationships and word of mouth as a channel, you're going to need to be intentional. And it's at this point where some of the things, just even the word of saying that, might make you feel a little bit icky. But intentional is the place that sits between the lack of strategy that is organic and the pushy sales, manipulation, and non-authentic connection tactics that we see all too often across multiple platforms, and that makes most of us, myself included, recoil in horror. It's like the source, I think, of most of our ick is what other people do, and we don't want to be seen like that. I would say the only thing that's genuinely icky about what I'm going to talk about today, leveraging human connection, is actually the word leverage. I wish there was a better word, because essentially, but I suppose it's better than monetize or commercialize, because essentially there is nothing wrong with making the most of high valued relationships that we've nurtured over time, and as long as they're founded on genuine, authentic connection. It's actually just about helping the people that want to help you to do so, because the right people do want to help you. It's hardwired into our DNA. We're tribal in our nature. We want to connect with the people that we share values with, and we want to connect them to other people that share those values. Community is our core, and while over the course of time we've drifted away from that in a commercial sense, in today's AI world, which on the face of it moves us further away from connection, there seems to be a parallel kind of channel with people swinging back to these more traditional values. So how do we actually move our friendly relationships and our community that we deeply cherish into one that drives us results in an intentional way, but still feels super human? So I'm going to start with some tips set out by a couple of different demographics. Number one being your clients. Now, if you're still unfortunate, I'm going to say happy clients, because if you're still unfortunate enough to work with the occasional dickhead, don't ask them for referrals, because they'll know other dickheads. And you don't want to be working with any more of those, right? We're here for a good time, not a long time, as I said before. But for those wonderful clients that you love and would love more of, it's not enough to just do good work for them and hope that referrals come. The fundamentals of how you get referrals are, of course, being really good at what you do and being really nice people at the same time. It's why growing through referrals should be celebrated. But people refer you for what you do, not what you sell. So it's about the value you deliver, it's about how you do that, not the specifics of your service. And if you just do good work, they might say that they recommend you all the time, but what they mean is that they're mentioning you, not actually introducing you to people. And even when they do that, if you're not educating them on what a good prospect looks like for you, then maybe you get the wrong referral and someone that's not quite right, but you feel obliged to talk to, maybe even accept the work because of who it comes from. And that's not ideal for anyone. When you're intentional about asking for referrals, you get the right referrals. And it's just about making it easy for the people, your clients you're asking, for them to identify and introduce the right people, helping people to help you. There's a bunch of ways to get specific introductions to people that feels like asking a favour from a friend, but as a general strategy, I want to talk about situational niching. It's the one that most people I speak to feel most comfortable with once they become accustomed to it. It's about understanding the problems that you solve. Remember, people refer you for what you do, not what you sell. And asking people to introduce you when they come across people who are in that situation. This method about going, I don't just want anyone in my pot right now, I only want you to bring people to me when I can help them, completely flips the dynamic of a referral from one that's a sales activity, someone doing you a favour by introducing someone and your ideal client to put at the top of your funnel, to a problem-solving one. So they feel that they're doing the favour to the person they're introducing to you. Getting the wording right with those stems from understanding those situations, I call them moments in time, and then your triggers. So your moments in time are the situations that we're talking about here. It's the specific point in a personal or a business journey where your service is most needed, relevant, and easiest to sell. It could be a stage in their brand development, a rebrand, or launching into a new sector or product, outgrowing their existing marketing or website. It could be something to do with their internal growth, hiring their first employee or their 10th, or firing a board member. It could be a specific time of year, like a season, or a reaction to a negative experience from their existing provider. So first of all, the way to get these is to think about your last few clients. What were you solving for them? Now the triggers are what people are actually saying, your prospects, what they're saying day to day in those moments. And it's just normal human language. It's not polished marketing copy or the stuff that's written on your website. It's more like candid comments, the things that people actually say if someone says to them at a meeting or a networking event, how are you doing? And they go, rah, and they complain about something. So they're mini stories and powerful hooks that stick in the referrer's mind so that when they hear them, it triggers, oh, I should introduce you to XYZ. So that's the specifics of the request, but how do you ask in the first place? The trick is doing it in a much more human way. Taking a deep breath at the end of a meeting and go, do you know what else who needs our services? They might be saying X, your trigger, and whatever the trigger comment is, isn't going to cut it. The request needs context and framing so that when the time comes, your potential referrer knows what to say and the other person is eager to be introduced to you because they know that you're going to help them, not that they're going to be pitched to. Helping people to help you, but helping others too. What could be more natural, community-driven and human than that? But the upshot is you get conversations with ideal prospects who are in the right place to need your services. Next group of people is your close network. Gaining referrals from your close network works in a very similar way. It's about helping them to help you by giving them context and giving them the specifics they need to know who an ideal referral is. But many people feel more comfortable asking here. Maybe because there's a thought that there's less riding on it. that you're not risking a commercial client relationship by asking for the referral. Although paradoxically, actually, if you do ask your clients for referrals and they make them, you're actually bringing your clients closer to you, because every time someone makes introduction to you, they are trusting you with a bit of their reputation, so it actually brings them closer. But yeah, your close network, I would use a similar tactic. Partners. So I'm now going to step up a notch to people in your network who are really aligned with what you do, and you might already class them as partners. You can have a whole load of people that you really enjoy spending time with, and this is particularly prevalent in the agency world. On the face of it, your services are really well aligned and not competing, but if actually you're competing for the same pot of budget with a client, then introductions may just never happen, particularly when times are a little harder. That doesn't mean the relationship isn't one to be intentional about, and with honesty up front being the best policy, you can have that conversation about budgets, and then you can look to do things in the other way, like joint offerings and co-marketing. This is about finding that wonderful place where both your values, your services, and the value you offer to others overlap, and putting up brilliant content to reach these other audiences that adds value to everyone. So it's not about direct introductions, it's about exposure and seeing what comes from that. I'm actually doing something very similar with the spectacular Jenny Ashdown at the moment. She helps agencies with outbound and sales, so we're absolutely competing for similar budgets, but we're doing some joint content because we approach things in a different way, and it grows our exposure. Once it's out, I'll add a link in the comments to that. Sticking with the partner theme, even if there isn't a huge overlap in budget, it's really important to understand where you sit in a customer life cycle, to then understand the partners that are going to be able to refer you and those that you're more likely to be able to refer to. Cross referrals are wonderful, but it's very, very rare that there will be an even spread of referrals. For example, a web development agency is much more likely to be able to pass consistent leads to a copywriter than a copywriter is the other way. And that's because normally by the time the copywriter is working with a client, they've already got a website or have decided on a developer to do that. It's just a natural way of the world. So understanding where you sit in an ecosystem of a customer with a problem over here and a solution over here in the businesses they visit will make it much easier for you to build relationships with the right level of expectation, which means they can stay friendly rather than disgruntled. It means when you go out to events, you can spend your time intentionally building the relationships with those people that might be able to provide you leads. Unless, of course, you're specifically looking for a service partner. Again, it doesn't mean you don't form friendly relationships, but just be aware of the ones that where you might be able to grow your business easier. And you'll only be growing it in partnership in a way that actually supports that other business as well. So there's some specific instances of how to work different relationship types and how to be more intentional in the relationships we spend time on. But I want to finish off with a few tips of how to build and add value to relationships at all levels. They're not rocket science, and you may have heard them before, but these are the ones that when I mention them in talks and in meetings, people get the most value from hearing again. Number one, the law of reciprocity. The law of reciprocity. If you do good stuff for other people, you are 100% more likely to get good stuff back. People feel naturally obliged to want to repay the favour. Now, you should never do it just for that reason. Do it because you want to, but it is how it works. I mentioned cross referrals before, and in how most instances that doesn't work. And this isn't what this is about. It's about just openly giving. If you're openly known as someone who connects people, then other people will give referrals and introductions and connect you. Even if you're not doing it specifically for them, you'll be known as someone who gives and supports others, which means you get more support in return. So make that introduction, connect the dots, be the person that does that. The world needs more of them. Givers gain. Number two, again, a similar one to above, but I'd say broader. So if you come across a book, an event, something of interest, something funny or thought-provoking that you know someone else will like, be the person that actually remembers to send that message rather than just thinking about it. It will absolutely make a difference. 3, the fortune is in the follow-up. You never get a second chance to make a first impression, but how you back that up speaks volume also. So when you meet someone and feel there's a relationship worth nurturing, instead of just scanning their LinkedIn QR code, connecting and thinking no more of it, follow up properly. A personal message goes a long way, and if you can add something in from one of the previous 2 points, the law of reciprocity and givers gain, then it will go even further. And the final point, specific, is to remember the little things, because they really do matter. Remembering when someone's birthday is, or anniversary, or them going on holiday, anything like that, remembering and dropping a message really works. We all want to do this, but if you're like me, you typically remember after the fact and then feel guilty about the fact you didn't do it. So you do what I do now, and I actually put these in my CRM. It's not cynical. It's the same as having your friends and family's birthdays on your kitchen calendar. It's just there to remind you to do something you wanted to do anyway. Which leads me on to a final overarching point about building and nurturing relationships. And it's that all this has to be done with a genuine, authentic intent. You can't force this. People can sniff out insincerity from a mile away. Rather than doing things not because you want to, because you think you're getting an end result, and then you take actions because you actually want to and you'll actually enjoy it. And then the rewards will follow. And that's my closing piece. You 100% can scale and leverage your relationships to grow your business and thrive, but only if your businesses are built on trust and authenticity and a genuine relationship. All things being equal, people do business with and refer business to people they know, like and trust. And the like bit is crucial. I'll be doing some more content on that. But for now, I really encourage you to think about the relationships you have. Yes, think about how you can strengthen them by spending more quality time with them, but then think about how you can strengthen them in the ultimate way by helping people to help you. And if you want help develop your own skills or your teams and put some process behind this, this is exactly what I do. And so get in touch. Cheers.